Hello everyone and welcome in Copenhagen. Live from the press center, the redaction of ESC Daily presents you the ESC Daily Show, a talk show in which we comment and reflect on the news of the day with the world's leading Eurovision experts. Today I have two interesting guests for you, but let's first take a look at some of the footage of the last couple days, what happened here in Copenhagen. This is the entrance of the accreditation center, and here are the first journalists looking at the big screens, which is what they have to do because they are not allowed yet in the arena. Here they can follow everything that happens there from the big screens, and here we have meets and greets, and this is the artist from Armenia, one of the big favorites for this contest. He's being followed and chased down by journalists. The Belgian artist Axel Hirsou, I have a guest here with me tonight who is a journalist for Eurosong.be, and he is following, of course, the Belgian artist and is going to tell something about that. This is images of his rehearsal. And here we have the stage, the big stage of this Eurovision Song Contest. And here with us tonight is Claus, the guy who basically developed the whole idea for the stage and created everything. So let's talk about that for a moment. Claus, you're here tonight. You brought a lot of stuff with you to show us what happened. Well, show us what was your most important idea for how it got.
Well, I can show on the model here. This venue is actually an old shipyard, which consists of two big halls that we had to build, kind of make one space out of by removing three huge columns here and put a big beam up here, because otherwise we couldn't seat 11,000 people. Mm-hmm. And then I wanted to create a space within the space and work with the technology from the way you were building ships in the old days. And you were building ships from steel frames covered with steel plates. Mm-hmm. So I developed this I saw this picture actually, which was built, it was a ship built in this place. And I was thinking it would be nice to work with something that's like a big, same form like a ship. So I created this cube. This is one of my first sketches where you see the resemblance of these two ideas, you can see. Yeah. And so in order for it to become more like an entertainment machine, I wanted to cover the whole cube with light. So we developed a light element with Martin Denmark, which is a light company here, that we covered the whole cube in. And then we had this tagline called Eurovision Island and Join Us. So that kind of gave the whole rest of it in a way, surrounded by people, the green room, the artist close to the stage, the Join Us feeling. And
is there going to be people within the green room? And
here you will have standing audience, and then there will be seated audience all the way around here. Of course, I had to create a form that was also good for television. So I worked with a very three-dimensional form, so that when you remove the cameras, you get a very dynamic spatial experience. And this beam here in the top can open, so the cameras can go through it. And there are a lot of technical features about this stage, and many things we've never tried before. For example, the touch floor screen here, it actually reacts to dancers and performers on the stage. So you can have water, and when you move around on the stage, it will make water rings.
We saw that today, I think, with Montenegro, with the ice skater when she first came on stage and everything, and it moved. It looks very good. Yeah.
And then the Eurovision Island idea gave me the idea to use water in the front. So water is running. There's a whole pool in front, and the water is running down over the front of the stage, being cleaned, and then it goes back and is reused. Then I said earlier I wanted to create a space within the space, because the space of the shipyard was so huge. And in order to be able to both create a small intimate performance with sparkling white stars or whatever, we developed this idea of, first I wanted to cover it with glass, so it becomes a piece of architecture and more modern. And then this light that we put on it, together with the foil, which is here, you are actually able to close the foil. So you can. We have projectors into the floor and projectors up here, so we can create a small space with all kind of graphical elements in 3D on this space, this wall here, you can call it. And at the same time, you can open it up and you get a huge space with a big LED that we've seen before in other Eurovisions, where they have this huge LED in the back. But I wanted something more than just an LED. I wanted to create a space within the space, so you could choose to use the LED screen, or you could choose to do and make another expression.
Is it a cube or isn't it? Like now that I'm looking at it here, it looks very. So is it just lights, or is it actually a wall that?
It's built like it's a grid, 244 by 244 centimeters of 10 by 10 iron frames, 40 tons it weighs, and it's 20 meters high. And there's 2.5 kilometers of LED lights put on it. So it is actually, if you put the wall here, it would be a full cube, but you need people to perform on it, so we had to remove 2 walls out of it. And that also creates it becomes more interesting. It becomes, sometimes when you see the camera views, it's like positive shape, and other times it's negative, if you understand what I mean. It closes and opens sometimes you can't really figure out which way it turns, which is really interesting.
Yeah. So for which acts do you think that this is suited? Like, what kind of things do you think look really good on this stage?
I think, I've seen so many beautiful performances. There's a light. I work with so many good people. There's a content designer that work with everything content that's put on projection and what's on the LED. And there's a fantastic light designer as well. So you can create all sorts of universe. But I think it's a piece of architecture, and there's one or two graphical designs for two or three countries where it's used as a piece of architecture, and I think that looks really beautiful. But then also, so you can use it as architecture, but you can also break it down as architecture, and it can become organic, and it becomes totally surprising that this very minimalistic structure becomes totally organic. But I wanted it to take it in a little more modern way, more simple way, minimalistic way than we've seen Eurovision before. So it got a little twist. I was thinking a lot of MTV award shows and make it more simple in a way, because I wanted an iconic form that could carry all these visual expressions through, because they're all different. So the form had to be very simple and strong, so it would hold all this different.
You're talking about MTV shows. That makes me wonder, have you done something like this for music shows before? Or for
I've
big
done
shows?
the Danish small Melodi Grand Prix every year for many years, and I do many other television shows and newsrooms, but nothing as big as this. This is the biggest I've ever done, and I've never worked so much. I did the first sketches July last year, and it's been a fantastic.
So it's really
experience.
Almost a year-round process.
Yeah,
basically.
we really started working September, October. October we started working night and day, and now we have we're starting to see the end.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
The ceiling of this venue is very high. How have you integrated the heightness of this venue into the design?
Actually, it's mostly it's both a fantastic thing that you have this height, but it's also a problematic, because when you've seen other Eurovisions, you have a little person standing here, but you can't understand the scale of the stage. So that's why I also like this grid. In that way, you can figure out, you can measure how big is the person compared to the big space. And then so we have many different layers, a lot of light layers up here, and we have some camera movements that go down through from up here, and it opens up, and so you can get really, really huge shots in this venue.
How difficult was it? Because you already mentioned that some things need to be removed. So now, how difficult was it? Because this is not a music hall at all.
No,
and
it
completely
here
changed.
When me and 2 others walked in here the first time, we just said, this space is too small. If we have to be able to do something here, oh, by the way, can you remove those 3 columns? Someone just said, I don't think we were thinking about what it has meant to remove 3 columns, because they had to put up a huge beam here and recalculate, and it's a fantastic space to work in. When you come in there, you'll see that it has a really, really good atmosphere in there. I think it's a perfect size for a show. Everyone feels, you can't use the word intimate in that sense, I guess, but you feel surrounded by. It works very well, I think.
Yeah. And it's exactly that intimate setting that some countries really like to use in their performances and in their first rehearsals. We have not seen all of them, of course, but we have seen the Netherlands making that kind of use out of it. It's a country that has been known to fail up their staging before in previous years, but today they made a very good impression. Let's take a look at what they say about that at the press conference.
Well, we have a great director who's helping us staging our song, and Hans, which we are very grateful for. He helped us set, the way we should stand and everything. But it was very important for us to have that contact, because the song is about basically that conversation that you have between lovers, that have a question mark about their relationship. So the way we feel that song and the intensity should be in our eyes, and you should see our eyes when we perform, and we should look at each other and feel that, So
it's almost a silent conversation. We got the song, and behind the song there's a conversation that we have, and that should be in our eyes, in our whole bodies.
An intimate performance, that is what they want to do with the Netherlands. Philip, I can imagine that Belgium has sort of the same thing, because you also bring a ballad. What is the feeling that you think that from the first rehearsal that Axel wants to bring across?
Well, the feeling Axel wants to bring across is, a lot of people think it's a song about his mother, but the feeling he wants to bring out to the people is that it's a song about intimate relationships. You have an intimate relationship with someone, and that's what he wants to bring across. And it's just not just a song, but it's also his voice and the way he's standing still on stage, but the way Isabel, the dancer, is moving on stage. They have this sort of chemistry, and it just works. And it's very intimate, and you feel the song, you feel the emotion. And I think that's what the most important thing for a Eurovision song.
You're working for Eurosong.be, so are you only following Axel, or what is it exactly that you guys are doing here?
We're here for two reasons. We're here for Men TV, it's a Belgian music channel. For Men TV we're only following Axel, but for Eurosong.be we're following a lot of the artists, so we're also following the Netherlands and the other countries that are interesting for our viewers.
Yeah, so now we did see a little bit of the rehearsal. We saw mostly of the press conference too. There was this thing, because we heard Waylon talk, and there was this thing in the Netherlands and Belgium, and there's this thing between these two countries, what they said about the Belgian artist. Is that something that, he made some negative comments, is that something that Belgian people care about? Does it live in your country?
Yeah, it does, because last week, after he made remarks, it was in all the newspapers in Belgium. It was on all the websites, everywhere. Everyone was talking about how disgraceful it was from someone from the Netherlands to make a comment like that about the Belgian candidate, because he told that it was a failed Pol Pot singing on stage, and people in Belgium don't like that.
Well, that's rather obvious, I guess. Okay, so here we have two, Claus, we have two countries, and there are obviously a couple of more, who have these slower, smaller songs, this about emotions. Does that suit, well, because we have seen in the Eurovision stage that we have seen these big stages and these big moments and, and big acts. How does your stage translate for these smaller songs? Like, how can they...
The fact that you can close this wall and project on it, you create a smaller space here, and then you can work with the graphical design and the light, and you can make you can just put a spot on one singer in the middle of you have a small intimate point. You can always do that, but here you're able to close down the space as well and open up the space. So I think it's perfect for a small, intimate performance.
Yeah, I think that's what we've seen with quite some of the performances. We've seen that with the performance from Sanna Nielsen from Sweden. We've seen that with the Netherlands. We've seen that with Belgium. It's very intimate, and you can create an intimate atmosphere on the smaller stage. And I think that's very important, because what we've also seen is some countries wanting to do big things on stage, and then sometimes, in my opinion, they're too small for the stage.
So basically the space within the space thing worked.
Yes,
if you've seen it like that.
I think it worked very well.
Did you see a lot of the rehearsals yet? Have you seen
I
it?
walked around doing all the finishing details, and I get surprised again and again about what the different countries bring and the different expressions that is on that stage.
Because it's basically people being creative with something that you created.
Yeah, that's why it surprises me again and again, and I become so touched with what people have been thinking. It's really amazing.
Yeah.
It will be a fantastic show.
Yeah. Well, speaking about amazing, we have the Estonian girl who sings her song Amazing, and she has been copied and referenced a lot to Loreen, a winner of a couple of years ago. Her performance, the song, it would all be a little bit similar. That's at least what journalists thought. Here's what Tanya from Estonia thinks.
Yeah, we're both doing like strange movement on stage for some people maybe, but it's not the same. We don't have the same song and we don't have the same dance and we don't have the same costume. We have the same hair. I've had this hair for 10 years now, so yes, but I love her and the numbers, the acts are different, but maybe the feeling because of the dance and song and not weird, for me it's not weird movement, but for some people maybe it's not that strange, not the hip hop, not the show dance on stage. So maybe in that similar too, yes. But otherwise, yeah, it's we have dance song and same hair.
According to Tanya, visually it might be a little bit similar, but the songs are very different. So Philip, how do you think about this? I mean, do you guys on your song, do you reference a lot? Do you make these comparisons between previous Eurovision songs?
Well, no, we don't. We've only done it once in my remembrance, and that was when Sweden sent friends over to the Eurovision Song Contest with a song that was very similar to Liefde is een kaartspel by Lisa Delbo. So we commented on that quite a lot.
Which is a Belgian song.
Yeah, which is a Belgian song. But we never made the contact between the Euphoria song from Loreen and the Amazing song from Tanya. In our opinion, it's two different songs and two different singers. They both have different sort of voices, different tones in their voices, so we don't compare them. I don't think their songs are quite the same. They're both up-tempo, but they're not the same songs.
Mm-hmm. What did you think about Estonia? Did you see the first rehearsal?
Well, I saw the first rehearsal and I think she's an amazing singer. She's jumping and dancing all over the stage and she's never out of tune. So I think she's an amazing singer and I think she will qualify, definitely, because it's one of the very few up-tempo songs this year.
Yeah. So, and along with Belgium, I guess?
Well,
Do you have them on your qualification list?
Well, actually I do. I have them on my qualification list. I saw the rehearsals from yesterday, I saw the rehearsals from today, and I think Belgium is one of the biggest chance, one of the countries that has the biggest chance to go through the final, because maybe not because of the song, because a lot of people think the song is a bit boring and old-fashioned, and the team singing about his mother is a bit very strange, let's say. But he brings it with so much emotion, and in my opinion, he had the best performance of the entire first semi-final. But maybe I'm a bit
patriotic
maybe a little bit.
Well, we wouldn't know. Okay, so now that's about qualification, but we're moving on to the big final later on. It seems so difficult this year to predict the winner. You know, have you given any thoughts on that?
Well, we've had a lot of discussions about who would win the Eurovision this year, but there are a lot of good songs. There are a lot of strong ballads, but there's not one single song that stands out. Like, for example, last year we had Emily. She had a song that stood out from the others. 2 years ago we had Loreen. It was very obvious that they were going to win Eurovision. But this year it's very difficult to predict, and even within Eurovision or Eurosong.be, we haven't made up our choice yet of who's going to win. I think we first need to see all performances and then make up our minds.
Yeah, and that's still going to take a while. Would you fancy another Danish win? And would you be involved in another?
Oh, I would love to do it. I think someone said you can only do it, you could do the design better the second time, because then you know what elements you work with. I'm ready again.
Well, I mean, that would be nice. Yeah, all right. Thank you both for being here. We had a wonderful show tonight. We're only halfway the rehearsals rounds yet. We have seen some songs of the semi-final too, which we just started about that today. But of course, we're going to follow all what happens today and tomorrow at the rehearsals, at the press conferences, and we'll be back with a new ESC Daily Show. For now, I will tell you good night.